All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? As you can see, I'm in a very different scenery than I typically am in my YouTube videos. That's because right now I'm spending some time alone in the wilderness of Colorado. And as you can probably see from the title of this video, although a little bit on the douchebag side, I got rich at 19, but I still feel poor. Now, the main purpose of this video is going to be giving you guys my reflections, some lessons that I've learned over this course of 2024. By all means, 2024 has been an excellent year for me. I've been in the world of business for around 2 years and 2 months now. You know, originally starting from, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Ben. I'm currently 19 years old. I started my business and my business entrepreneurship journey, I guess, when I was around 17 years old. I started in the back of my high school classroom with pretty much no support, no clue on which direction I'm going in, and honestly, really just no true guidance on, you know, how I'm gonna make this work. I was originally just a kid who, from Maryland, just didn't want to go to college. That was my main goal of starting business. I didn't want to have to go to school. My hatred for school kind of grew greater and greater my junior and senior year of high school. I was always the kid to just get made fun of. I was never the popular kid in class. I was never the smart kid. I was never good at, you know, sports. I was never good at anything. And so as time kind of went on, I thought, like, is this truly what my life is? Am I just the kid who just sucks at everything and just has to suck that up for the rest of his life? Luckily, TikTok, I know of all things TikTok, I just got addicted to TikTok a lot. I'd scroll a bunch on TikTok and I just start getting motivated by like these reels that you guys would probably see. You know, everyone sees those motivational reels. I genuinely got motivated by those, and I said, you know what, like, this world of business really does interest me, because ever since, although I was, you know, just a 5'3", 110-pound Asian kid throughout middle and some of high school, I sold fidget spinners while I was in middle school. I sold Rainbow Loom when I was in elementary school. I was like, you know, I even sold like jewel pods when I was in high school. So I would always be selling something, not because I knew I was gonna become rich when I was young, but just because it was fun to me, right? Selling stuff that I knew was in demand. If you want to see the full story, I'll link a video down below. What I want to go over in this video, and I have some notes written down, is my reflection of 2024, right? The definition of wealthy to me. 2023 was a crazy year for me, but 2024 has got to be at least 10 times crazier. I mean, just this year alone, I was able to build a Shopify store and scale it from 0 to over $1.5 million in online sales. I was able to build a software company. I was able to build a pretty decently sized personal brand for myself at this point, right? First 10,000 subs on YouTube, growing my TikTok or my Instagram, just because that's what I love to do. I love to talk, I love to rant, and I'm very thankful to have that. First thing that I've learned this year, and I actually would have disagreed with this earlier this year, is working hard will not get you rich. Although some could argue, that's kind of the point of why I'm saying it, is because it's a very controversial topic. And I realized working hard is not what's going to get you rich. It's going to be a combination of a lot of different things. Working hard is just one of the variables. On top of working hard, you also need to be constantly learning. You need to be constantly adapting, constantly researching, and you need to be constantly figuring out how to squeeze yourself into the market. And when you do that, that is when you pair it with hard work. Because when you pair hard work, actually doing your business or running things or running whatever industry you're in, doing things in its own unique way, that is when hard work pays off. I see so many people following outdated methods. They're trying to follow trends from 3 years ago, and they're working hard. And in essence, they say, you know, my time's coming. I should make money by now. But unfortunately, the world doesn't work like that. Making your first 100K is not the hardest. Probably hear this saying online that, you know, making your first 100K is going to be the hardest. Making your first $1 million is going to be easier. Something I've learned, everything is difficult. Newsflash, when I made my first 10K, I didn't feel rich. I didn't feel like I was doing anything special. And I did not have a blueprint of what I knew I was doing. In fact, if I'm going to be completely honest with myself, I kind of rejected this at the time, but I just got lucky. When I made my first 100K, I had no idea how I was going to get to my first $1 million. I didn't want to take my foot off the gas, and I felt like I was not rich at all. When I made my first 100K, like 2023, I feel no different now than I did with 15K in my bank account. And it's not because I'm not making a lot of money. It's because as somebody who lives in my body, you know, me, living with myself every single day, change happens over a long period of time. Humans notice change typically 3 to 5 months after you change, right? If you start going to the gym, you start getting muscle, you start gaining weight, you start looking a lot more jacked, you start getting a lot more money, people are typically going to notice around 3 to 5 months after it actually happens. For you, actually doing the steps, making the small incremental pushes forward, moving the needle every single day, you don't really actually see those changes yourself until you take time to truly reflect. And so that's another thing I wanted to touch on, right? Is no matter how much money you make, I've just accepted the fact that I will never feel like I've actually made it. I'll never feel like my life is complete. I'll never feel like I've done enough. And while I thought that was the goal of life when I first started, I've now realized it was never the goal to begin with, because chasing the money is how you lose in this game. I see a lot of people chase the money, right? All they want is the Miami apartment. All they want is the cool car. All they want is just the girl. You have like 70 years on this earth. If you put your head to something for 70 years and you think you can't get it, you're delusional. I've been doing business for 2 years and this is where I'm at. So with people, when they have these goals when it comes to monetary stuff and they end up getting it, it's a shocker to them because it's very obtainable. And so I see a lot of people end up quitting once they reach these monetary goals, and once they move into that Miami apartment, it's because they get complacent. Complacency kills. And I think having goals bigger than what you can imagine is going to keep you in business, is going to keep you alive, keep the fire burning for longer than you can imagine. Because when you set goals that are small, when you think small, you will achieve small goals. But when you think big, when you tell people, when you tell yourself goals that you have that may seem crazy to yourself and even others, that is what's going to keep you pushing every single day. Next thing I want to go over is building teams is how you actually last long and is how you actually scale. When I first started my business journey, was so obsessed with keeping all the profits. I didn't want to give away equity. I didn't want anyone to have another piece of my pie because I wanted all the money. And I think that's a great mindset to have when you're first starting out. When you're first starting out in the world of business, you should be what's the penny pinching, because that's what it takes. You should be honestly saving every single last dollar you have. And as time has gone on, I've realized with the amount of stuff that I have to do on an everyday basis now, if I was to do it every single day and it was only me who was doing it, not only would I make less money, but I'd burn out faster and I'd probably end up quitting. Building teams is how you actually scale, and it's actually how you make the most money. You hear the saying, you make your first 100K on your own, you make your first $1 million with a team. It's impossible, you know what I mean? You just can't. I would not be able to imagine what I'm doing today if I had to do it all myself. I wouldn't even have time to sit out here for 30 minutes and make a YouTube video, right? So I think as you watch this as a beginner or intermediate in business, don't be focused on obviously hiring people right after this video, but keep in mind, at a certain point, what you do on an everyday basis, you're gonna sit down with yourself and say, why am I still doing this? This is taking up a lot of my time. Ask yourself, can I hire someone to do this for me? And if the answer is yes, you most likely should, because there will become a certain point where the amount that you are making surpasses the task that you are doing. And that is when you hire for that task. Another note on kind of making your first money and penny pinching is, especially in Miami, I see a lot of people make their first buck online and end up blowing it. I'll even go live on TikTok sometimes and I get people saying, hey bro, I'm 17, I just made my first 100K profit online. Should I buy a M3 comp or a G80? And I say, hey bro, okay, how much are you making a month? Can you buy that car 5 times over? I've realized buying the cool stuff will never make you happy. You always want better. Spending it on, luxury stuff, you're always gonna want more. So instead of just giving yourself short-term satisfaction and short-term pleasure, in my honest opinion, and I know everyone's different, I know everyone has different risk tolerances, I would rather put a majority of that money off to the side somewhere. I'm not saying put it in the S&P 500 or put it in a retirement account. I'm just saying put it off to the side, right? Use that money you just made to build cooler shit. You don't need to throw it in a high yield savings account. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, bro, you have $100,000 to your name now. Use that money to build cool shit. Start building more brands. Hire out bigger teams than you can ever imagine so you streamline all your processes and you're actually printing like crazy now. Start building SaaS companies. Invest money into yourself. Start learning more about what you're doing. Buy more mentorships to get yourself to the next level, because that is truly how you outpace everyone else. Anyone can make their first 100 grand. Not a lot of people make their first million. Another thing, people are going to hate on you. When I keep on referring back to when I was starting business, and I'm always going to keep on saying that throughout this video, but to be fair, a lot of these lessons I learned have been preconceived notions from when I started business. People will hate. I used to be a people pleaser, especially in middle school, high school, and I kind of took that into my infant stages in business. I'd say, I want to keep a good relationship with everyone. I want to make sure I keep everyone happy. I want to make sure nobody ever has any beef with me. And then I realized, no matter how much shit I do that will please others, no matter how much shit that I do for other people to make sure I get no hate, people are still going to hate. No matter how much I act like myself, no matter how much I try to be authentic online, people are still going to hate. And it was a hard pill for me to swallow, because especially being a people pleaser in high school and middle school, I always used to wonder, why is it I end up pleasing people, right? I do shit for other people and they still don't respect me. I do shit for other people, but I still feel empty inside. It's because when you live your life for other people, you don't leave any time for yourself. And I know people always want to be, sympathetic of other people, caring, but when you always care about other people, You have no time to care about yourself. When you're on a plane, they tell you to put the life jacket or the face mask on you first and then put it on others. You cannot focus on others if yourself is not taken care of. It's just not possible. So when I see people, living their life for other people, it's not going to work out. People are always going to hit on you, whether, it's people who are relatives, people online. People always hate. People always give you negative thoughts and their preconceived notions, not because it always means they're a hater. It's just who they are as a person. I've met a lot of people where we just disagree on something. Right? And it's not an opinion-based thing. It's just I'll end up going this way and then they'll end up going the right side. I'll end up going left side. And then we end up just kind of crossing paths and we just don't agree on something. And then we end up hating on each other. I've had it happen multiple times. And then 4 months later, 3 months later, a year later, we end up being friends. And most of the time when people hate, it's not because they're essentially a hater. It's just because they don't agree with you. It's because people aren't always going to see what you see. So when you talk in a way that is relevant to your current situation in life, it's not always going to apply to other people's situation of life when they're not in the current position that you are. So a lot of people aren't going to get what you talk about. When you tell people you want to make $1 million by shipping products from China, importing them to the US and running them on TikTok ads, you're going to get a lot of people saying, hey bro, why would you do that? That sounds like a scam. People aren't going to see what you see. And that's okay. They're not supposed to. Nobody ever said you're going to have this huge parade, this huge send-off party when you start your world of business. It's not glamorous. You see the TikToks offline of people going to, Greece and all these tropical islands and taking these first-class flights. Yeah, after they got shit on for years, after they got called a failure, after they've been failing more times than you can ever even imagine trying. That's when people will always hate. Another thing is don't listen to others. And I know this is kind of I always say this. I always say don't listen to others. And I know it's kind of contradicting myself because you guys are literally listening to me right now. I think a better way to phrase it is be careful who you listen to. Because you can listen to anyone, but you cannot listen to everyone. Trying to take the opinions, the advice, the how to do this from everyone is only going to lead you in a spiral of confusion, doubt, and failure. Because when you try to take everyone else's opinion on stuff and follow that as your blueprint to success, you're just gonna get a bunch of scribbles on a piece of paper and no idea how to make it into a painting. When you take other people's advice to heart, right, and you listen to someone's advice and you live by it, you only listen to them, you only do what they say, that's also another very dangerous trait. So you guys have probably heard the saying, take the meat, leave the bone. And I think that's a very, very important trait to have, is don't listen to anyone, be very, very careful who you listen to, make sure you protect your mind, but also make sure that you take the meat, leave the bone from other people, right? You shouldn't listen to everyone, but you shouldn't listen to one person. So what should you do? You should take the meat, leave the bone. You should listen to a select few amount of individuals, and you should take the meat and compile it into your best opinion on how you should conduct your business. And I'll go into a little bit more depth in my next point of why that's so important. But another thing I want to go over is don't be on social media too much. I know social media is very addicting. You see a lot of these motivational reels. It's actually what once again got me into the world of business. But being on social media, at the end of the day, there's always a reason why people post, right? Truly, there's always a reason why people post. I post on my social media platforms, not because I want to share my journey, but also because I also want to promote my university. I want to promote my accelerator program. I want to promote my $1 course that I have. There's always a reason why people post, and there's always intention behind why people do stuff. And I think that's very, very important to know, because once again, when you look on social media, it's very easy to look at a video someone posted and say, you know what, they have it all figured out. I only want to listen to them from now on. And that's, once again, not taking the meat and not leaving the bone. That's just only listening to one person, right? So don't be on social media too much. Any business model works. It's just about how long you stick with it. I get asked this question a lot of, Ben, is dropshipping still the best business model? Should I start an agency? Should I do this, trading, crypto? Any business model works. I live in Miami. Obviously, I don't live in Colorado. This is just a vacation, but I live in Miami and I meet people from all sorts of different industries. Dropshipping, fitness, OnlyFans management, content agencies, trading, crypto, any business model you can think of, I probably meet people there in Miami for. And so any mainstream business model you hear about online now works. It's just a matter of how you approach it, how you do things differently from other people, and how long you actually stick with it. I've had a countless amount of people join the university, and this is why we've gotten a little bit more strict with who we choose. And also DM me, and they say, hey bro, I tested 2 products. My dropshipping store didn't work. I think dropshipping's dead. I tested 93 products before I got my first profitable winner. 93. It took me 3 months to build my first store. So it was over a span of 9 months. It took me 93 products to test. And so you have to ask yourself, are you willing to go that long? And if you're not, that's genuinely what it takes. It's other people's job to make it seem like their business model is the best. But at the end of the day, they all work. It's just a matter of how long you stick with it and how you approach it, right? College is becoming more and more of a common trait. trait. And I think as my young audience is watching this, I want to make you guys very aware and known of this, is college is becoming more and more of a common trait. People are sheep, and so they will follow the crowd. When people follow the crowd, you then end up doing what everyone else is doing. This is the last point I'm going to make. My last point in this video is going to be, don't do what everyone else is doing. But when you follow what everyone else is doing, you're going to get results like everyone else gets. So when you go to college, when you get a comm sci degree because you don't know what industry to go into that everyone else at your high school gets, what makes you special, right? What makes you special? If you're not going to an Ivy League school and getting these super high level degrees, what's the point? ChatGPT is 8 times better than you. Why should Google, why should any of these big companies hire you? And if you cannot have a valid reason off the top of your head, then why would you go ahead and get it after 4 years? It makes no sense to me. I always had a problem swallowing the pill of, why do I have to go to college for 4 years? Not months, not weeks, 4 years to still be told by college graduates they didn't learn much and they didn't think it was worth their time or money. 4 years. I've been in business for 2 years and I've done what I've been able to do. 4 years. If I could not imagine sitting in a classroom for 4 years, being a good boy and just going with the flow. I got told this by somebody. I was in this stage around a year ago where I didn't see any success with business, but I didn't want to go to college. And so I had to figure out a way if I had to figure out if I wanted to go to college or not. And somebody put it in a very, very good perspective to me. And they said, Ben, whatever you do in life, do it 100%. If you go to college, put 100% of your effort into college. If you decide not to go to college and you go into business, put 100% of your effort into it. Not 99, 100, right? Because there is no 50-50. There is no running business while you're in college. There is none of that. If you want to get rich as fast as possible and you genuinely want to get results the fastest, you have to be able to put all your time, dedication, and mental willpower into one thing. You are going to get results the fastest by putting your mind and your effort into one thing, not splitting your focus. And so they said, Ben, which one are you going to go 100% into, right? Which one do you want to go 100%? Because at the end of the day, the only way to go 100% into something is going 100% into something that your mind, that you are just pulling or you're drawn to do. And I said, I'm 100% dedicated to going into business. If I go to college, I would not want to do it 100%. And therefore it would not be my 100%. And they said, okay, you have your answer. Simple as that. It's a very dangerous game. It's very risky living life not going to college. I do get that. You take a lot of risk. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people overuse what 100% truly means. If you go 100% into something, you will not fail. The reason why people fail is because sometimes they'll put 80%, 90%, 99.99%. You get results in the 0.01%. And so when you truly put 100% of your mental willpower into something, that's when you make the biggest impact on yourself. And so I know I'm just throwing around 100% here and there, but truly understand what 100% means. It means no distractions, no parties, no fun, just learning, dedication every single day, 7 days a week, mood, feeling, emotions aside, like an absolute animal. I was 180 pounds when I started dropshipping. I used to be a huge gym rat. I was 180 pounds when I started dropshipping. It's like 182. And I was so dedicated to just building stores and learning dropshipping every single day. I dropped to around 140 pounds in those 9 months. No, not even that. Like 7 months, because I was only eating like 1 meal a day. I would sit, when I truly tell you guys, I'd sit in my room for 16 hours a day. That's not an exaggeration. It's not, I'm not just saying it to say it. I did. I would sit there, I would turn on music, and I would just work day after day after day, 7 days a week, every single day, 365 days a year, for 10 to 14 hours a day, every single day, regardless of the results, regardless how I felt, regardless if I was sick, regardless of who invited me out, even though I didn't get invited out, regardless of what event was going on, regardless of how I felt, what season it was, regardless of anything. Last thing I want to go over in this video is if you want to get results that others don't get, you have to do what others don't do. I see a lot of people, once again, who have this sheep mentality. And so then they'll follow the crowd. They'll say, oh, that person's successful with dropshipping. Let me follow exactly what he does. While that's a good mindset to have, it's a learning mentality. The people who I have in the university, the people who I've met, even myself, who are the most successful, will learn from other people and they will continue to build on top of what they learn. They'll go above and beyond. They don't just take knowledge and copy. They take knowledge and build upon that. Because if you genuinely want to get results that other people don't have, you have to be doing what other people don't do. If you follow the crowd, you're going to get the crowd results. And the crowd results is no results. I've made all my money in dropshipping thinking of things differently. Approaching products, approaching markets, approaching the industry in a different way. Because what I realized is a lot of the knowledge about dropshipping, a lot of these free courses, a lot of just all this stuff, it's not going to make you rich. It's not going to make you $1 million. Yes, it may help teaching you how to build a shop Shopify store. Yes, it may help finding your first winner. But if you actually want to make money for the long term and you want to make a lot of money, you have to look at things differently than other people do. And that's kind of where I want to leave off this video, because there's going to be a lot of people watching this video, right? That last statement I just said only applies to 1% of people watching this video. While all of you guys heard that statement, it only applies to 1% of you guys. Because at the end of the day, only 1% of people succeed. 1% of people watching this video are going to actually succeed. 99% will fail. And that's just general statistics, right? On this video, it could be 50-50, it could be 30-70, I don't know. But just general statistics in this world is 1% people succeed. So when I say something like, if you want to get results like other people don't, like, yeah, if you want to get results like other people don't, you have to do what other people don't do. Only 1% of people watching this video are truly going to take that to heart and actually apply that. Because the people who do get results, once again, is the 1%. And I think that's the tricky part about life, is as I sit here on this camera, literally 3 feet away from me, with the frozen river behind me in Colorado, with the Colorado mountains behind me, I give advice to all of my subscribers, all of my viewers. But at the end of the day, it's a tough pill for me to swallow that only 1% of you guys are truly going to make it. I'm here to give advice, help people on their journey, wherever they are, but only 1% are going to make it. And I don't want to sugarcoat it. I think a lot of you guys like it when I don't sugarcoat shit, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You have to be a different type of animal to genuinely succeed in this game. You cannot be like other people. I have become so separated from society and so unlike other people in these last 2 years of me doing business. It is just unfathomable. Everything that I do in life now is just different than other people. And that's why I want to end this video. If y'all genuinely want to lock in, get to work. Life gets beautiful when you look at it in a beautiful light. I am no different than you are. In fact, I'm actually a lot more like you than you probably think I am. Lock in, get to work. 2025 is going to be a crazy year. I can't wait to look back on this video in a year and then just kind of make a new video about it. But I hope to see you on the other side. Speak soon. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'll leave a link for that down below. Nothing else. Peace.